and welcome back to day 12 of our 12 days of Crochet Mischief. I hope you've had as much fun with this event as I have, because it's been a bit of a ride. Let's get straight into it though. Today's creature has made our Mischief list because they have a soft spot for stealing alcoholic beverages from nearby humans, drinking it all, and then like passing out in gardens and such. So, let's see who we are making. And it is, of course, an African elephant. Yeah, apparently it's not, I don't know if it happens all the time, but apparently there is plenty of reported incidences of these guys like breaking into villages, stealing all the wine and passing out in the gardens. And so like, cool. I wish I could tell you to wait to the end of the video to get a clue as to who we're making tomorrow, but I can't because today's the last day. You got to appreciate it while we've got it. What I can do though is ask that after you've made today's pattern, go to the link in the description down below to the survey for this year. So we did this last year as well. It's just kind of a little like touch base at the end of this event to find out like who you enjoyed making and who you didn't enjoy making, just so that I can adjust for future years. And I do share the results of that survey in our like day 13 wrap-up video, which will be sometime next week. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind filling out that survey, I'd really appreciate it. But let's make ourselves an elephant. So to make your African elephant today, you're going to need 8 ply 100% acrylic yarn in just one colour, and I'm using pale grey for this. Though you're also going to need a scrap amount of black and a scrap amount of white to add the eyes afterwards, because I am choosing to sew mine on today. And you will also need a needle to add those details, as well as like he's made all in one piece, but we do need to like sew some pieces a little bit more into place on him. In addition to this, you'll want some stuffing, your 3.5mm hook, a pair of scissors, and I recommend having at least 2 stitch markers or bobby pins available just to help us form those ears. But that's it for day 12. Let's go. Let's go. Alrighty, so today we are going to be starting at the very tip of the trunk. Then we kind of work up the trunk into the head, ears, legs, and so on. So in our grey, we're going to start with a magic ring of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like so. Then we're going to work 2 rows of 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, tiny schnoz so far. Row 4 is 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3, and then an increase to bring us up to 5 stitches in our round. And row 5 is 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Row 6 is 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then an increase to bring us up to 6 stitches around. A long tapering trunk. And row 7 is 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 5, and 6. So far so good. Row 8 is 5 single crochet around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 3 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we've leapt all the way up to 8 stitches around. Row 9 starts with an increase. 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Another increase. a single crochet, 3 single crochet all into the same stitch, and a single crochet to finish the round, leaving us with 12 stitches. And row 10 is then 3 repeats of a single crochet, an increase, and then 2 single crochet, 1 and 2. So that's 1 single crochet, increase, 2 single crochet, that's 2, and 1 more, and that's 3. So we should be up to 15 stitches around now. Row 11 starts with 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, and 11. Then 3 increases. 1, 2, and 3, and a single crochet to get us back to the start of our round. Current appearance, odd. And row 12 starts with a single crochet 3 together. Now all that is a decrease worked over 3 stitches instead of 2, and there are 2 different ways to work that. And so the first is the standard single crochet 3 together, which is where you insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert your hook into the second stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, then insert your hook into the third stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving you with 4 loops in total on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through all 4. So that is a standard single crochet 3 together. I personally have a soft spot for the invisible method, which is where you just pick up the front loops of the 3 stitches you're decreasing over, yarn over and pull through all 3, leaving you with just 2 loops on your hook, and then you yarn over and pull through those 2. So either method is perfectly fine for today. Right, carrying on into row 12, we then have an increase, 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, another increase, and then another single crochet 3 together, 2 single crochet, 4 increases, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 single crochet back to the start of our round, 1 and 2. Now the next thing I'm going to say is going to sound a little bit odd, but with those cheeks formed, you now should have an idea of what the top of the head is and what the bottom of the head is. And where possible, I just want you to like push the trunk down the body, okay? We will be like stitching that in place later, but I personally think that crochet like will stay in a position if you encourage it often enough. So I would just encourage you where possible to like hold that trunk down against the underside of the body. Won't make a huge difference overall, but it's just one of those like unwritten steps of things that I think can sometimes help. Who knows? So we have 20 stitches in our round and we have 2 little cheeks and a nose. So row 13 starts with a single crochet, then 2 repeats of 3 single crochet into the same stitch, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's 1, and we're going to do it again. 3 single crochet all into the same stitch, and then 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're then going to work 5 single crochet all into the same stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 single crochet across, 1, 2, 3, and 4. and then 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it's just 3 single crochet back to the start of our round. There we go. So unlike the previous creatures that were emerging from triangles, our elephant is emerging from a square dimension. So that is the end of row 13, and we should have 32 stitches in our round. And we've just passed the halfway point, even if it doesn't really look like it. So in row 14, we're going to be building the ears. And these are a little bit of fun. So we're going to start by working a single crochet. And then in the next stitch, we want to build an ear. So I would like you to grab your stitch marker. Looking down at the next stitch, I'd like you to identify your front loop and your back loop. And I'd like you to mark the back loop. That's going to be used in the next row. And we're going to work a whole lot of stitches into this front loop. So we're going to work a slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then still working into the slip stitch, not working into the chains, we're going to work 4 treble crochet. So a treble crochet is when you yarn over your hook twice, insert your hook into the stitch, in this case just the front loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, leaving you with 4 loops on your hook. We then yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over and pull through the next 2, and yarn over and pull through the final 2. So there is our finished treble crochet, and that's 1, and we need 4 of them in total. So that's 2, 3, and 4, all into the same stitch. Then again, into that same stitch, we're going to work a double treble crochet. So that's 1 bigger again from a treble crochet. So you yarn over your hook 3 times, insert your hook into the same front loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, so you've got 5 loops on your hook, and yarn over and pull through 2 of them at a time until you have a completed stitch. So there is our finished double treble crochet. So you can see it's just slightly longer than the trebles. We're then going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and slip stitch back into that same hard working little front loop. There we go. So that is our first little ear formed. Careful, he's listening now, and once he hears you, he'll never forget. Now back to working through the stitches of the head. We're going to work a single crochet, and then 2 repeats of a decrease, and a single crochet. So that's 1, we're going to do that again. Decrease, and single crochet, bringing us to where we want to form our second ear. So grab your second stitch marker or bobby pin. Once again, mark the back loop. And this one here, we're going to work in the reverse order that we made that first one. So we're going to start with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to work a double treble crochet into the same front loop. So that's where we yarn over 3 times to start with. Then 4 treble crochet, which are the stitches that we yarn over twice to start with. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're then going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into that front loop to finish our second little ear. There we go. Here's 2 little ears. They're going to be sitting a little high on his head at the moment. As one of our finishing off steps, what we do is we pull them down a little bit into the more classic elephantine shape. So if yours is sticking up a little bit like, I don't know, like a giant mouse, it's fine for now. So back to working in our round, we're going to work 7 single crochet down the side. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 8 single crochet across the base. 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 5 single crochet back to the start of our round. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So he's still a very surprised elephant emerging from the square dimension. But we're getting there. That is the longest row of this particular pattern. Okay, row 15 starts with a single crochet, and then we're going to skip the stitches of the ear and instead work a single crochet in that marked back loop. And that's why we mark it, so we don't forget that it's important. There we go. And then starting in the next stitch of the head, we're going to work a decrease. And even I'm abandoning invisible decreases for that one. Then a single crochet, and then another decrease. Skip the stitches of the ear and instead work a single crochet into the marked back loop. And then starting on the other side of the ear, work 30 single crochet back around to the start of our row. 1, 2, 3, 28, 29, and 30. Okay, row 16. We're going to start by working 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 9, 10, and 11. We're then going to skip 9 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 10th stitch from our hook is the next one we're working into. And just make sure you fold it over so that like the leg is forming on the outside of the elephant. Then it's 4 single crochet across the middle. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to skip 9 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's once again the 10th stitch from your hook, and it's 3 single crochet back to the starting point. 2 and 3. So your row should now be down to 18. Let's have a look at what we've done. So this is what mine looks like. As part of the final details, we'll be pulling the head down a little bit. We'll be finishing off those legs a little bit, and we'll be adjusting the ears a little bit. So I guess what I'm just trying to communicate is the fact that, yeah, it looks real stupid right now, but it's going to be okay. There's a reason this guy got left to day 12. Okay, row 17. We're working 11 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11. Then an increase. 2 single crochet. 1 and 2. And another increase. And 3 single crochet back to the start of our round. 1, 2, 3. That should bring you up to 20 stitches in your round, and row 18 is just 20 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 18, 19, and 20. Row 19 starts with 12 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, and 12. 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3 single crochet across the tummy. 1, 2, and 3. 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. And 3 single crochet back to the starting point. 1, 2, 3. So we're up to 28 stitches in our round now. Row 20 starts with 14 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, and 14. 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. 4 and 5. 7 single crochet across the tummy. 1, 2, 6, and 7. 5 single crochet all into the same stitch. That's 3, that's 4, and that's 5, and 5 single crochet back to the start of our round. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So at this point, your round should be up to 36 stitches, and row 21 is just 36 single crochet around. Oh, gotta love it when you put out just the perfect amount of yarn. So there we go. We have 5 rows left. And try and enjoy these last 5 rows. The event is coming, like this is the final pattern of the 12 days, and it's not coming around again for at least another year. So row 22 starts with 12 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 10, 11, and 12. We're then going to skip 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So starting in the 10th stitch from your hook, we're going to work 3 single crochet across. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to skip 9 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And starting in the 10th stitch from your hook, we're going to work 3 more single crochet. 1, 2, 3. There we are. We have our little back legs now too. And our row is down to just 18 stitches. Row 23 is 9 decreases around. 1, 2, 8, and 9. There we go. And at this point we are going to stop and we're going to stuff our elephant. Once again, we don't need to worry overly much about making sure the legs are stuffed. And you only really want to lightly stuff this sort of head and chest area. Because we're going to flatten it out later, but it's not a huge deal if they end up a little overstuffed either. We just make it work. Mine's been stuffed so that the head is sticking straight out. The ears are still all higgledy-piggledy. Making sure our elephant has clearly had enough to eat. I don't think I've said it in a couple of videos either, but yarn scraps are perfectly fine for the stuffing of these too. Okay, so with that stuffing accomplished, you'll see that my legs are sitting completely flat and thus unstuffed is the point I was making there. We're going to work the final 3 rows just to build up a little tail. So row 24 starts with a decrease, then 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 decreases back to the start. 1 and 2. Row 25 starts with a decrease, 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, and then another decrease, bringing us down to just 4 single crochet, and then row 26 is just 4 single crochet around. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and finish off. Y'all, if you made it through all 12 days, you take a victory lap right now. You've earned it. And we're just going to use that final piece of yarn to weave around the opening and go, just tuck that away inside. Okay, so that is the crochet portion of this particular elephant done, but there's still clearly some final details to be made to make him look right. So I'm going to start just by lacing up the back of his legs in what should be relatively familiar to most of you at this point, but we'll go through it again for anybody who is just making an elephant. That happens sometimes. So I'm just going to anchor my yarn at the base of one of these legs, like so. And we skipped 9 stitches to make each of them. So what I want to do is flatten them out so that it forms 4 pairs of stitches and then 1 spare stitch at the end. And all I'm going to do is take my needle and working it back towards myself is pick up the front loop of the top stitch of the pairing and then the front loop of the bottom stitch of the pairing. Like that. And just lace it on up. And we're going to do that for each of those 4 pairs of stitches. So back up to the top, front loop and lace it. Front loop and front loop. Front loop and front loop. Then because there is a stitch at the end, we're going to go up through the front loop of the stitch at the end of the leg. And then down through the leg back to the base. So that is one leg all laced up. I'm going to do that to the next leg. So once again, we just flatten it, find our 4 pairs of stitches and our odd one at the end. It's just going to make sure that your legs stay straight. And we're going to lace them up. And this is relatively easy to do with a hook as well. It's just, I think the blue needle stands out nicely in demonstrating the process. That's 2. And the front legs are the same. So that's those done. And this, unlike all of the predecessors, requires just a little bit more assistance from us. So, legs good. We now need to help the face a little bit. So this time I'm threading an actual sewing needle. Yeah, mine is big and curved. Don't let that intimidate you. This can be done just as easily with a straight needle or any sewing needle, but I'm just going to thread some grey onto it. And the first thing we need to do is grab the nose and the cheeks and bend them down against the body. So just to show you that from a few different angles, just plop, plomp, plop. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a couple of little stitches at each cheek just to lock it down in that position. There we go. So now his trunk is facing downwards, and I could have put a little bit more stuffing into that head. I did for this one here. That's my bad. He's fine. And then for the ears, what I want you to do is flatten them out so he looks terribly surprised, and then just tilt them down towards the head here. And I'm just going to one little stitch to lock this part of the ear down to the cheek as well, so that it forms the quintessential elephant triangle head. I'm going to do this side here just because that's where my yarn is attached. So curve it down to where the cheek is. Just one little stitch and then back across the other side. So that's one, and this is the other. So that's it for all like the bonus assembly. And now all I have to do is take my black and my white and stitch on a couple of little eyes. My goodness, I really could have stuffed this elephant a little bit more. And we're doing those the same way we've done for the bear, for the fox, for the walrus. I'm just going to put little black dots where I want the eyes to be, and then little white dots on top just to give him a little bit of life. For elephants, I think little triangle eyes are kind of nice. I'm going to try and angle my black dots a little bit. There we go. Day 12 is done. And they're not pink elephants on parade, but they're grey elephants on parade. So there is day 12 done. I'm really hoping I don't have to use a sound clip here telling you guys that I've learned my lesson and I'll go back to making smaller patterns next year. Hi, I've learned my lesson. I'll try to make the patterns a bit smaller next year. But we'll find out, won't we? I hope you had fun with this year's lineup. They were a little bit bigger, like physically bigger than last year. They took a little bit longer than last year, but I also think that they were simpler in a lot of ways as well. So I look forward to hearing what you guys say in the survey in the description. Please fill out the survey in the description. Now, please do still share photos of your elephants and also like your group or family shots of your whole collection, because I will be including as many of those as I can, and any that haven't gotten shown from the previous days as well, in that day 13 wrap-up video. So please do keep sharing your photos, because I like to see them, but also I want to make sure that I'm sharing as much of them with you guys as well. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind filling out that survey, that would be really helpful, and I will see you guys next week with the wrap-up video. Okay, bye!